Sony has already acquired several companies. We already know about the Bungie deal that's still being worked on, the Bluepoint Games deal, Housemarque, Nixie Software, and Firespite are all companies that Sony has acquired. But guess what? They are not done yet. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like this channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when these videos go live. Still trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. I would love to have that play button, and you can help me get there. So thank you so much to everybody who watches regularly. So there was an interview with Jim Ryan basically on the PlayStation blog, and he talked a lot about why they aren't adopting day one strategy, what they have seen in terms of success, and their plans for future studio acquisitions. I'm going to go over all of that today, starting with this quote right here. So he says, we're in a really good place right now with PlayStation Studios. We have been there for the past few years. The critical success and the commercial success that has given us permission to invest heavily in content creation. We're growing our studios organically, and we're growing through acquisition. We acquired 5 studios over the course of 2021. We're in discussions with Bungie, and we have more planned. And this is getting into a virtuous cycle where success begets success. The games that we make are getting bigger, they're getting better, they're getting more beautiful, they're getting richer. The narrative is getting stronger, and this is really great, and gamers tell us this is what they really want from PlayStation. So, as you may know, just like the Activision deal is being closely looked at by the FTC, the Bungie deal still has to go through all the hoops and all the things that has to happen. So that's why he talks about the Bungie deal still being in progress for them. I'm sure it's going to go through just as the Activision deal will. However, what's really interesting and what a lot of people latched onto were the virtuous cycle that he talks about, which is it's a little comical, but he makes a good point that they have been making great stuff and it seems to continue paying off for them. And more importantly, the fact that they do plan to continue investing in the purchase of studios. So part of their growth strategy is not only going to be continuing to make the games that they make, but bringing in studios and partners to make those games for them. Now, I have to say that putting those games into a subscription service immediately upon release, this would break this virtuous cycle, and we wouldn't be able to invest in the way we're currently able to. And so we're not doing it. We're going to stick with the approach we have, the approach that's served us well over many years now, and an approach that we think serves our gamers well. So that's what we're going to do. So Jim Ryan flat out says, we're just not going to do day one releases. The way we've been doing things has been working well, and what they've laid out with PlayStation Plus, they believe is going to be the best strategy for them moving forward. And it seems like PlayStation gamers don't care. They're subscribing to the service. Even myself, by the way, you can find a really, really good deal right now that Wario just tweeted. It said PlayStation Now 12-month subscription is $59.99 on US PSN. And it's going to convert to the highest tier PlayStation Plus Premium in June. So that's a $119 value for $59.99 a month. And of course, includes 400 PS4, PS5 games, 340 PS1, 2, 3, and PSP games. And I mean, why wouldn't you subscribe? Like, unless you just don't want to have access to a plan like this, it is a really good deal. It's $5 a month. And I up for 2 years. Honestly, I figure that'll be enough time to figure out if it is worth continuing at the much higher price point. But yeah. So Jim Ryan talks about how their service, well, they're not really trying to compete with Xbox Game Pass. Really, they're just like, this is what we're able to offer. They feel like their customers are totally fine with it, which they seem to be based on everything that you see online. And well, partially, I will say this. If their consumers had been pushing back a little bit harder on some of the things like they did with the Horizon upgrade path, which was reverted back to what they had originally promised, that if you bought the $60 version, you could upgrade to the $70 version for free, or the upgrade pass, I do think that Sony would have adjusted their strategy. But People are happy with the quality of the games that come out of Sony. So they're going to continue with that business strategy. And that business strategy is cascading to services like their PlayStation Now merger with PlayStation Plus. Continuing on, some other really, really interesting stuff. We have massive publisher participation in this program. We have all of the big names present. We obviously have PlayStation Studios present. We have big publishers. We have small indie publishers. We have over 200 partners working with us to put their content into PlayStation Plus. So the lineup is going to be really strong. Now, there's one reason that statement really excites me, actually. It's because they talked about their indie partners and the fact that they're going to be able to get in on this. Now, hopefully, at some point, Game Pass and the PlayStation Plus revamp is going to allow those smaller developers to create more interesting games and be seen by more people. If that means that these small studios are going to have a larger opportunity to be seen and they can get some money from Microsoft, they can get some money from PlayStation, that's wonderful, honestly. I'm really, really happy that PlayStation is focusing on a wide breadth of creators. What's more exciting is they said there's 200 partners, which probably means all of the big players are going to be also allowing their games to come here. And that competition that I talk about all the time is really, really going to come to a head after June. And we see, okay, who's getting what on which service? Where am I playing my games right now? And that's really wonderful for somebody like me who owns both platforms. And I can just be like, well, great, I'll just play on PlayStation or I'll play on Xbox. I wonder in a few years when our save files are all over the place across the two, though, what that's going to look like. It's definitely an interesting time we're in. Finally, there was a really good quote. I really like this last part from the PlayStation blog. How important are services to the PlayStation ecosystem? I think they're critical, and I view them as one of the key bits of glue that binds the PlayStation community together and binds the community to us. Now, he actually said something there that I found really interesting. He feels like these services are critical, not only to PlayStation, but you could also apply his statement and sentiment to any other competition. Because, of course, on the Xbox platform, you've seen the adoption rate for Xbox Game Pass. That is 25 million subscribers, I believe was the last number. And those people are very loyal to play Xbox and Xbox Game Pass. I know I love Game Pass. It's a service that I will shout from the rooftops as a great value. And hopefully when we actually get our hands on this PlayStation Plus service, it's not just PlayStation Now crammed into PlayStation Plus, right? For the most part, people have been largely overwhelmed, but I'm still trying to be cautiously optimistic here. I am skeptical, but I'm cautiously optimistic that they have figured out something where it is going to be a really good boon for gamers everywhere. Continuing anyway. And I think that the great thing about PlayStation Plus in particular is in the early days, just after launch of the PS4, the purchase motivation for PlayStation Plus was really principally around being able to enjoy online multiplayer. Now we've evolved the service really nicely, steady, slowly, but very considerably over the subsequent years. And now PlayStation Plus means a whole lot of things to different people. The instant game collection is incredibly powerful. We worked really hard at that, and gamers love it. So that game collection has and will continue to come with the base version of the new PlayStation Plus. So that is great. That's just a great reason to get PlayStation Plus. And I think that was one of the key differentiators to how PlayStation handled it and Xbox handled it. I really, really like that, actually. You subscribe to PlayStation Plus with your PlayStation, you get access to all these games. That's going to continue on. The one thing about the whole deal, though, is they announced some of the games coming to the medium tier where you would subscribe. And I have to imagine that those were already going to be added to PlayStation Now. So I do feel like it was a little bit of a softer note than I would have expected. But PlayStation is all about learning about what people want and innovating. One of the stories I've had up that I wanted to talk about for a while is that they're finally going to bring variable refresh rate support to PlayStation 5. And this is something that Xbox has had for their console as a one-up sort of that Xbox gamers have really enjoyed, that places like Digital Foundry have pointed out, like you get a much smoother experience on an Xbox because of this. Even if PlayStation has oftentimes had a very smooth frame rate, the VRR just made the Xbox a really enjoyable experience. Well, now, or soon anyway, you're going to be able to have that on the PlayStation 5. So the reason I bring that up is because it does seem like PlayStation is never content with just saying, okay, well, Our services are what they are. We're going to leave them as is. They do look to innovate when they see the competition doing things. And that's why I love competition, because it forces everybody to look at what they're doing and make adjustments as necessary. There was also an interview with Famitsu Magazine where Jim Ryan talked about the positioning of the services and how it will work with previous generations, but mostly he covered off on the really, really important stuff in this. But I still have to read about that. And yeah, so here's one of the things I do want to talk about from the Famitsu article, though. Let me just zoom in here. This is translated, by the way, so let's take it all with a grain of salt as much as we can. Future outlook for the console gaming industry. At GDC today, there is talk about Netflix of gaming, a term that refers to a flat-rate game service like Netflix. This new PlayStation Plus can also be seen as one of them. On the other hand, looking back further, industry analysts once said console home games are over. In fact, I'm still alive like this. What are your thoughts on the future of the gaming industry and PlayStation? Very smart people have long said the console era is over, but given the spread of the PS5 around the world, I can say with some certainty that console game consoles will survive for years. I believe that the future of game consoles is strong. On the other hand, I also believe in the possibility of streaming. With the introduction of PlayStation Now and the expansion from the United States, I am satisfied with the experience of playing PS3 and PS4 games by streaming, and I have accumulated that. Streaming will play an increasing role in the future, and I would like to continue to provide it. I agree with him. We've seen Xbox invest so heavily in streaming, and they're hiring people who have experience in this area like Kim Swift, who helped launch Google Stadia and has been working in that world for a while. I think it is going to play a bigger part as we move forward. I think PlayStation Now, honestly, they just got into it too early, right? Because the tech was not great. You had incredible latency. It just didn't play very well. So for years, PlayStation Now got a bad name. And I do think them merging it into PlayStation Plus is the smartest move PlayStation possibly could have done. I mean, if you're going to get the WarioWare deal, get it as soon as you see this video, because it's a killer deal, first of all. And second of all, you're not going to get another chance like that. It's just going to apparently it's just going to auto convert to PlayStation Plus Premium, which is the highest level service. So if you are going to sign up for this, definitely consider doing it that way. But time's going to tell. I think it's going to take a little bit more time to see, well, is this just PlayStation Now all over again, where the streaming isn't great, or the library of games is just sort of when compared to Xbox Game Pass? I think that's going to take time to tell. And for now, the reactions I've seen have been mostly underwhelming. But when I see that I can get it for $5 a month, yeah, I signed up for 2 years. No kidding. It's a great deal. You should do it too. If you're even considering it, it's such a good deal. I don't know why anybody would not recommend it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I do appreciate you checking out this video. If you like my content, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when my videos go live. I do appreciate all of you. I really appreciate the members also. Got to give you a shout out every single video, because you guys really keep the channel going. And you've been there with me from the beginning through everything. So if you want to become a member like these peeps who are awesome, click that join button right there to become one of them. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to get out of here for now, everybody. Bye.